Dude, Trey Lance, what's going to happen, dude? Sam
What do we
Darnold
think's
named
gonna happen with
49ers
Trey
number
Lance?
2 QB. Trey Lance absent from practice.
He was absent today.
Yep.
So his team has officially, and that's not his personal decision. The team says, why don't we remove themselves from the team? Because as a marketing standpoint, you cannot be listed as a third quarterback. But also, I think there's some sort of rule I'm unclear about that I heard is like you can't have a guy making that much money be the third string.
Yeah, but also you see in the big thing 2 hours ago, it says NFL world crushed over the 49ers draft trade. San Francisco shipped 3 draft picks to the Dolphins for the rights to draft Trey Lance.
Here's my take on this. I understand that they prematurely, they're like, hey, they moved up in a draft that had Justin Fields and Mac Jones go 11, 12, where they were way before that. They moved up way early for who went first that year?
That was Zach Wilson went second, Trevor Lawrence went first.
So okay, Trevor Lawrence
was third, yeah.
So Lance was third, and then you have Mac Jones and Fields later. So obviously this is the first year the 49ers are accepting the mistake of the 3 draft picks, the 3 first-round picks that went to the Dolphins. That essentially led to Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and I think they did it like.
And Philly moved down to 10 and took Devontae Smith. Dallas moved back to 12, which is where the Niners were, and they got Micah Parsons.
So
wow.
It affected a lot. Now here's
and they landed Bradley Chubb with that from the
Bradley
Tyreek,
Chubb.
Yeah,
there was the third guy. So now Dolphins won the pick, the trade there. Great by Greer.
Yeah.
That besides the point. I understand people being like, "Oh, that's a mistake," but let's play this hypothetical. They traded 3 first-round picks to find a guy that they need to run the team to the Super Bowl, to carry and they got that guy. Sure, he was a 7th-round pick, but like essentially, can't you just in your brain fix, hey, whatever, we lost those 3 picks, but we got what we wanted.
Yeah.
So what does it matter? So I don't understand. Also, this was 3 years ago. Why are people so hung up on a mistake? Now, listen, if they were sitting here and Brock Purdy is not good this year and he sucks, then you're like, okay, now you can finally get mad at John Lynch as a GM in San Francisco, his first big mental mistake here. Fine. But if Brock Purdy turns out to be your quarterback for the next 10 years, you got however, maybe it wasn't Lance, but for whatever reason, the trades you made, whatever happened, the team got you in a position to get Brock Purdy, and you found your guy. Yeah. So who cares? I don't understand why that's such a big thing. That's the whole.
It's pretty wild, dude. Obviously, they're seeing something in practice from Purdy and Darnold. So obviously, Lance was the 3rd best QB.
Well, I saw in the preseason watching the film, like I saw. I mean, listen, when they signed Darnold, we were all like, this is something. Exactly, I don't think he's going to be 3rd string. I think he played well enough last year with the Panthers to be like, all right, he deserves a chance somewhere at least. I mean, I don't think we could solidify him as a career backup yet. Yeah, but when 26. He signed and he played, I watched Darnold. I was like, well, he's playing better than Lance.
Yeah,
I just
like
had
Darnold,
seen in that. So now Lance hasn't had a real shot yet, though. We haven't seen him like at least go a season and be horrible somewhere.
No. But it's one of those guys. He was North Dakota State. He went where Carson Wentz went. Like, so these small unproven schools, and he was so overhyped.
Well, he also only played like 14 games in college.
Yeah, dude. So
it was a wild thing to draft this guy this high, but
above Fields.
Yeah, with Ohio State. My whole thing is, all right, what do you get for him? A 5th, a 6th?
Yeah.
I'll take him all day. If I'm any team in the market, I'll trade a 5th all day for him. Because I have to believe the hype a little bit. It's not a full-on bust. This isn't Josh Rosen we're talking about, who had a full 14 games with the Cardinals, got like a full preseason mini camp, and like 4 games with the Dolphins, where people are like, nah.
Yeah.
It's like we saw enough with Josh Rosen to be like, he still had an unfair thing because they got rid of him after 1 season in Arizona, and then in Miami, it was like a rebuild year on a horrible team with no line. But clearly, when he was in Atlanta and backing up people, no one saw anything in any of the preseasons to keep Josh Rosen going. So, bam, that's a bust from one of the quarterbacks in the last 5 years, right? Yeah. There's one bust. Mayfield, we still don't know. Other than that, in the last 5 years, the only bust we have right now, we're waiting for, or it's Mayfield, Darnold, that draft class. We're waiting to see.
Yeah.
To see what's going to happen. Rosen is for sure. And now this Lance, which I think on McAfee, they brought up a great point. This could be arguably one of the biggest busts in NFL history.
Dude, they were so pumped when they drafted him too. It was it was insane. He was like, we found our guy for the next decade. But
and another point someone brought up is like, all right, there's a lot of ex-49er coaches that are head coaches.
Yeah.
Jets, Dolphins. There's a couple guys probably somewhere else.
Yeah.
If they don't show interest in him, they worked with him. They saw Trey Lance rookie year. So they know, like, people, you hear things in practice like, hey, he just doesn't have it. Like the same thing about like the Chiefs knowing like, we're good. Well, we got Mahomes. We're going to have Alex Smith. We know what we have.
What about Raiders backing up Garoppolo? They used to,
I'm open to it anywhere. I think that he does. I want to see him. As a fan of football, I go, let me see him start one game. I just want to see one game. But last year he played one game. It was like I want to see him just play.
Seems like every team kind of has a set. If Baker gets hurt, they could go after him.
I think they would rather see what Trask
in New Orleans.
I think Tampa Bay would want to see what Trask can do.
Trask,
right? Trask or
yeah,
Trask?
Kyle Trask.
He was a third or second round pick, wasn't he?
Third round pick. Yeah, he's from Florida too.
I think if Mayfield, but like, listen, I don't expect them. Let's say they're 1-3, but it's not Mayfield's fault. I think they give him a whole season.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because then if you do bad anyways, you can reevaluate things. But I mean, there's teams out there like Washington.
Yeah.
Okay. There's teams like Atlanta. I think that's a great, like, with their running scheme.
Yeah.
That Ritter guy, we don't know anything about. Like, there are teams out there who, like, he could go start tomorrow. Like, if I'm an Atlanta fan, I'll trade a fifth to bring over Lance.
But you work so hard for Ritter, and they got Matt Corral too in Atlanta.
How hard did they work for him? Wasn't Ritter like a late pick, second rounder or something?
No, I'm saying like they've been building. They've been.
Yeah, but if Trey
you want to
Lance
see how it pans out with everybody. There's no like open spot. Maybe
Trey
Washington.
Lance has got legs. That's the one thing we know for sure. Regardless of where he goes, we know that this guy can scramble, and we know Atlanta's offense is a very scramble-esque, or a run offensive schemed team.
John.
Now, I'd even take him in Miami over White.
Yeah,
I'm not trading Skyler because I know Skyler was a 7th round pick. He's our Purdy maybe, but like
you'd rather have Skyler than Mike White. If
point,
you have Trey Lance and Tua,
from what I've seen so far, Mike White has the same injury history as Tua. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and he's not as talented. So he in his 2 years in New York, he got injured and missed games. And just in this preseason, he got injured.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I've seen enough from Skyler that I'm like, well, I have more faith that Skyler can run the offense better under his second year. And he's 25. He's older than Mike can yet. So then why not trade an even trade? Hey, we'll give you Mike White. That fits you for a third guy over in San Francisco. Give us straight up, something like that.
Yeah.
And then we have an option to where like maybe McDaniel, he comes from the that coaching tree of making these great running games, and he has a system where he's like you're doing like a little a Lamar Jackson type of offense. If something were to happen to Tua. Right? It's a different style offense where it's like, all right, Skyler can do what Tua does. He just comes in and flings the ball less accurately, but he knows how to run the offense, right?
Yeah.
But now with Lance, you have a different style of offense. That could be said with Atlanta, or I mean, even a team. They're not going to trade in the division, but even a team who has like I don't know who's backing up the Rams in Stafford, like
Stetson Bennett.
Oh,
yeah.
There's a lot of teams that will take Lance, and he's the solid 2 there.
I don't know. There's not many. Not as many as you'd think. Who's the 2 for the Packers? Sure, maybe the Packers.
Who's the 2 for the Steelers? Oh, Trubinsky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like who's the 2 in Buffalo?
It's like the Kaepernick thing. Like they're not gonna go out of their way for a backup like that, you know?
No, but for a 5th or 6th rounder, if you have a guy who you're uncertain of or could get hurt, like even in Buffalo, who's the backup in Buffalo?
Buffalo, I could see that, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Buffalo's got their franchise guy, but someone who doesn't have a franchise, who's the backup in Philly?
I don't know. The backup in Buffalo doesn't even say. Kyle Allen. He's pretty good.
I mean, he's gonna go.
Philly backup QB?
Yeah, who's that?
Mariota.
Oh, yeah. Rather have Mariota because at least he's been in the league 10 years.
Yeah.
But there is a place for him. I do believe that. Listen, Trey Lance, regardless of being a bust, because of his mobility, he's a top 60 quarterback.